Good morning students, Standard 8, Civics Lesson 1. How the state government works. Previous class we saw about the state executive, powers and functions of the governor and chief minister. Now we will see the legislature. In India, the state legislature consists of the governor and one or two houses. The upper house is called the legislative council. In Tamil, Sattamandra Melavai. And lower house is called the legislative assembly, Satta Peravai. So some states in India, we have the bicameral legislature. It is a legislative council and legislative assembly. So the states are Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra. But in Tamil Nadu, we have legislative assembly, only one assembly. Legislative council. The constitution provides that the total strength of the legislative council must not be less than 40 and more than 1/3 of the total strength of the legislative assembly of the state. The members of the legislative council are elected indirectly. That is a Maraimuga Therdal. 1/3 of its members are elected by the local government bodies like the district panchayat and municipalities. Another 1/3 is elected by the members of the legislative assembly. 1/12 is elected by the graduates of the constituency and another 1/12 by the teachers of secondary schools, colleges and universities. 1/6 of the members of the state legislative council are nominated by the governor of the state. The legislative council is a permanent house. 1/3 of its members retire every 2 years and elections are held to fill the vacant seats. So the members are elected for a term of 6 years. To be a member of the legislative council, one must be a citizen of India and should have completed 30 years of age. He cannot be a member of the legislative assembly or either of the houses of the parliament. The chairman is the presiding officer of the legislative council. In his absence, the deputy chairman presides over its meetings. They are elected from among the members of that house. The second one, it is a legislative assembly. In Tamil Nadu, we have legislative assembly. It is a Satta Peravai. The people who make the laws of a state government are called members of the legislative assembly, MLA. So MLAs are chosen from different constituencies. Togudigal, constituency means Togudigal. For the election of MLAs, the entire state is divided into different constituencies. These constituencies are called the legislative assembly, legislative constituencies. So one legislative constituency may have 1 lakh or even more people. So one MLA is chosen from each legislative constituency to represent that legislative assembly. Election to the assembly. Different political parties compete in the elections to the legislative assembly. அரசியல் கட்சிகள், different political parties, that is the அரசியல் கட்சிகள் போட்டியிடும். So these parties nominate their candidates from each constituency. The candidate is that person who contests for the election and asks people to vote for him. A person has to be at least 25 years old to contest for election to the legislative assembly. One person can stand for election in more than one constituency at the same time. ஒரு வேட்பாளர், candidates, can stand in the more than one constituency. ஒன்று அல்லது 2 தொகுதிகளிலும் நிற்கலாம். Even if a person does not belong to any political party, he can contest election. இந்த வேட்பாளர் எந்த பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டிலையும் சேராமல் தனியாகவே நிற்கலாம். So such candidate is called an independent candidate. சுயேட்சை வேட்பாளர். So every party has its own symbol. Independent candidates are also given election symbol. The members of the Legislative Assembly, this MLA, are elected directly by the people. So all people residing in the area of a legislative constituency who are 18 years of age can cast a vote in the Legislative Assembly elections. According to the Constitution, a Legislative Assembly cannot have more than 500 members and not less than 60 members. Some seats in the Legislative Assembly are reserved for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. The governor can nominate one member from the Anglo-Indian community. The members of the Legislative Assembly are elected for a term of 5 years. But the governor can dissolve the house before the expiry of its term and can call for fresh elections. The meetings of the assembly are presided over by the speaker, who is elected from among the members of the assembly. Speaker Sabhanayakar. He is the one to preside all the meetings in the assembly. So in his absence, the deputy speaker conducts its meetings. That is a Tunai Sabhanayakar. The State Council of Ministers. The leader of the majority party in the election is chosen as Chief Minister. In Tamil Nadu, there are 234 legislative constituencies. The party with more than 118 elected candidates, that is a MLA, are invited by the governor to form the government. The Chief Minister, who is also should be an MLA, chooses his ministers from the MLAs of his party. Ministers for various departments headed by the Chief Minister is called the state government. So it is said that the party which got majority seats in the election forms the government.